CLG brings a ton of history and a strong staff in partnership with the Madison Square Garden Company to the NALCS. If you've got a lot of faith and can see the potential in their roster, CLG might be the team for you. CLG was founded by Hotshot GG. Reginald was in CLG during the very early conceptions of the team, but due to the conflicting personalities between Reginald and Hotshot, Reggie left to form TSM. This is where the biggest League of Legends rivalry began. Being one of the oldest organizations in League of Legends, many other notable names have been through CLG, including Doublelift, the biggest AD carry personality in the world, Voyboy, a top League of Legends streamer, Kobe, a Riot shoutcaster, and many, many more. Now, CLG had success in its early days, always having top performances, but the team eventually hit a huge slump, almost getting relegated from the LCS. In 2015 and 16, an era fans called the Golden Era, CLG had a first place finish in an NALCS final, they qualified for Worlds, and they also placed second at MSI, which is the highest NA finish at an international event ever. Now, the time between then and now has been labeled the Age of Faith, where fans are consistently believing in CLG's rosters having great potential, but performing below expectations. But this year might mark the start of a new era. Now, let's break down the rosters that we have this year for CLG. In the top lane, we have Darshan. Darshan made his debut on Dignitas in 2014 under the name Zion Spartan. He became popular through his aggressive top laner split pushing his team to victory. As a personality, he was well known as a player that even his friends and teachers would call Zion Spartan rather than his first name. He is also considered to have a great singing voice. In 2015, he joined CLG and eventually renamed himself as Darshan, his IRL first name. In the jungle, we have Reignover. Reignover brings a ton of excitement and hype to the roster as a respected player and Korean import. His respect came from his time in both Europe and North America, being a part of the undefeated Fnatic squad and terrifying Immortals squad, with a 32-game win streak as he moved from Europe to NA. He was known as an extremely smart and revolutionary jungler, praised for his efficient jungle pathing. But then he had his time on Team Liquid, where his performance hit a low. But on the strong roster now with CLG, there's a ton of expectation and high hopes for his performance to come back to its previous glory. In the mid lane, we have Huhi. Huhi is a returning mid laner to CLG. This Korean import started his competitive journey in the North American challenger scene in the year 2015 and made his debut on CLG in 2016. Famously known for being an amazing Aurelion Soul player, he brings out this pocket pick to the pick and ban phase where he can force out precious bans or make them regret letting it through. He also is one of the few Korean imports to have a healthy stream and YouTube personality where he brings a ton of laughter to his audience. In the bot lane, we have AD carry Stixxay. Stixxay joined the NALCS with big shoes to fill as he replaced Doublelift on CLG in 2016. Stixxay had a decent rookie year and has proven his nerves of steel as he successfully brought out the risky and untested Ginsu's Blade Tristana during playoffs and MSI matches. To support Stixxay, we have Biofrost. Biofrost entered the NALCS in 2016 as the unknown rookie to Doublelift on TSM. Despite being a rookie, Biofrost played well and was part of TSM's dominating year. Biofrost is praised for his mechanics and being a young new player still has a high ceiling and high expectations. Now to round out the roster, we have their coach Zeeks. Known as one of the hardest working coaches in the scene, Zeeks grinded his way onto the team by sending the team reviews and analyses of their game. He eventually got noticed and was consistently helping them remotely and off screen. It wasn't until a few years later where he finally got his break as the head coach and led the team to a ton of success. So with all that history with CLG, why do we like this team?
Because you have faith.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest reason for sure.
I think if you want to be a new fan of CLG, it might be a little tough to adjust, but for everyone that's been a fan, they can tell you, they're usually a dark horse or, hey, they might pull well and they end up not pulling. I think it's hit or miss. But they like I was saying, like they are the big team, like dark horse, right? Some people say they're going to be top 5. Some people say they're actually going to be top 3. It's going to be interesting to see. I think they have a great coaching staff with great personalities that can actually push this team ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's jump into a little bit of the rosters because I think not only do they have great players, especially on paper, there's a lot of personality behind them. So let's start with Huhi. I know Huhi is one, like I mentioned in the intro, one of the few people that are few Korean imports that actually have like a healthy YouTube channel and a stream that's actually like really entertaining and funny. Because you usually see Korean imports, they're a bit shyer because, English is their second language and they might not be super comfortable with it. They're trying to learn, but it's tough. It's definitely tough if you've ever been like in a foreign country and stuff like that. But Huhi, so funny, super trolly, and is actually a pretty good mid laner. Like, what do you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think he brings a lot to the team. He always at least forces one ban, and instead of having 5 bans as a professional team, you have 4. That's actually like pretty big and usually a huge advantage for them. But with that in mind, I think talking about the next Korean import, Rainover, I think he's had kind of like an up and down career all around. I mean, in Korea he was known as Game Over, which I think is one of the harshest things.
So sad.
But in Fnatic he found so much success. He was amazing there. I mean, granted, he did have the help of Huni, and they were always kind of like best friends, but they made it to semis and worlds. So he has international experience, like now everyone in the squad. They needed that replacement for Oh My God, and this might be the redemption year. So if you want to follow like an interesting storyline, I think you definitely want to follow Rainover's.
Yeah. And, his English is getting better, so his personality is coming out a little bit more. But, from all the drive and the duo story that Riot put out on Rainover, like he's a genuine, like really great guy and people love him and they want him to do well. He was really highly respected. And he's now again with a Korean mid laner instead of a Korean top laner. So with Huhi and Rainover, that could be really, really good and beneficial just for morale and just being able to do well and just get someone fed on the team.
Yeah, it also might be close enough. Huni and Huhi. Like his mind might be like, oh, my secret has been unlocked. And it just like overperforms.
There you go. He only can be put with people with 3 out of 4 letters that match. You're right. There you go. In the bot lane, we're really excited about this change onto the roster. Biofrost. Biofrost is a huge heartthrob in the League of Legends community. He's also kind of that shy kind of personality that's just like really, really funny and really great. And people just end up loving Vincent. He's just a really good personality and character, which we got to see in TSM. With CLG putting out all their content recently, like he wants to show TSM did him wrong and they made the wrong decision. Super exciting to see him on this team. And he's pretty much like, I know he's not a rookie, but he's still like really, really fresh and new. So we could see a lot of him coming out as an individual rather than the support of Doublelift.
Right, for sure. And I mean, I think you mentioning Doublelift real quick. Stixay support was Afromove, kind of like the other side of the Rush Hour bot lane. So these are kind of like the second generation, right? The Shanghai Noon, as some have been calling it. And I find it amazing. I find it really cool, and I hope that we see kind of like this bot lane be like the Rush Hour of old in a sense. Kind of like improved, have great dynamics. I mean, they've been talking like on Twitter. They love each other. They're like, oh, I love playing with like Biofrost. So you're already starting to see like that synergy growing. So that's usually really, really good sign.
Yes.
Also, with that in mind, if you're like, yeah, fuck TSM, CLG might be the right choice for you. Like they have like one of the most like longest standing rivalries within the scene.
Yeah.
Granted, like C9 has kind of like been taking over, but I still think like Hotshot and Reggie like being really close friends. They usually have crazy bets going on. I hope they keep doing that, but yeah, it's fun, right? And if you have absolute hatred towards one team, sometimes you might just want to be a fan of the other team.
Yep, I get you. On top of that, let's talk a little bit outside of just the general League of Legends roster, or the League of Legends roster and the players. They have, since CLG has been around for a while, they've branded and they've worked on expanding their organization as a whole. They have a streaming team. And if you are familiar with League of Legends players and personalities, you'll remember Trick2G, who is huge in the scene, YouTuber and streamer. You have Shifter, who used to be a mid laner for Dignitas back in the day, and he's a He's a good personality. He is part of the meme team, of Echo Fox. So he is part of CLG's stream team. Yeah. And their latest addition is Yasuo, who is known as a Yasuo player, who should be really exciting to see streaming for them as well.
Shocking. He plays Yasuo. And I think aside from that as well, I mean, if you're a fan of other teams, like outside of that, like they have a CSGO team. They actually just dropped their CSGO roster, but they still have the females version of the team. So that's always really cool to see, because I mean, you don't see that from many orgs trying to it's kind of risky, but I think it's awesome. They have Smash, they have H1Z1. I mean, from interviews they've been doing in the past just couple of days, they say, wait, there is more. There will be more, right? So I'm super excited. I mean, their head now is Nick Allen, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. He was saying that just wait for more. There's going to be more awesome stuff, in store for the team. And, I'm excited to see what it is. I'm excited to see this team perform. And I think with that, the next logical step you have to make is be a fan of CLG.